What is up, everybody? Welcome to Apocalypse Movies. This is a spoiler review for the new Rian Johnson film, Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery. I'm Jacob Bartley. I'm joined here by Gio Ramos. And like I said, we're going to talk spoilers for Glass Onion, a movie that we were both looking forward to, a movie that's only playing in theaters for 1 week, unless they extend it. And I think they should extend it because this movie is awesome.
Yes.
Absolutely
Yes.
awesome. Gio, I know you enjoyed this movie, but how often, we leave a movie and what do I always say? I need time to think about it. I always say that, right?
Yeah. Yes,
Not
you do.
this movie. I knew it was awesome right away.
Yep.
And that's how at least for me, that's how I know it's a great movie is like, if I don't even need to think about it, I already know, boom, I loved it. That's how I felt walking out. How about you, man?
Yeah. First off, let me just say I thought it was great for Netflix to give this movie a limited release. I've been very
Absolutely.
vocal about that, and I'm sure you agree. These streaming services should look into having a limited theatrical release. That way, those who
Mm-hmm.
want to watch it in theaters can do so, and those who rather wait can do that too. But to your point about walking out of a theater and how you feel, I mean, you'll really know right then and there, right? Like, okay, you'll either feel great about the movie, it'll be a movie that you're unsure of, or maybe it's one of those movies that like you enjoyed, but you just need time to process it, like
Mm-hmm.
Interstellar. Like I needed a
That's
couple
a
months to process that. Yeah,
There are movies that require time to process it. I don't think this is one. I think it's pretty
no,
straightforward, but there are layers to this movie. No pun intended. I
yeah.
honestly did not plan that, but there are layers to this movie that you can think beyond the surface level stuff as well.
Yes, absolutely. And like you, I walked out of this movie and I knew right away that I loved it. I did. I was so hyped. I was ready to go into another screening. I mean, maybe give a little bit of a break, but like, I had that much fun with this movie. And Jacob, I don't know about you, but for me, and maybe you agree, but like, okay, when it comes to sequels, I think comedy is the most difficult one to kind of do it again, but maybe better.
Yeah,
Um,
I would agree.
yeah, like Hangover, Horrible Bosses,
Mm-hmm.
movies like that. The second most difficult could easily be the who done it, the murder
Yeah,
mystery,
it's a
you
fair
know.
point.
And I said this on my channel a few days ago because I just couldn't wait to talk about it. But when it comes to doing a sequel to a who done it murder mystery, you gotta do two things. You gotta raise the complexity without losing your audience, which is difficult, and you got to present a whole new slate of characters who are interesting enough for you to want to go down that journey again to find out
Mm-hmm.
who did it. And I think Ryan Johnson nailed them both to damn near perfection. Would you agree?
Absolutely, man. I think that's a fair point because if you do one murder mystery or a whodunit and it's successful and you
Yeah,
had all these eyeballs on it, now you're gonna have all those eyeballs and maybe even more on your sequel. And they're gonna
sure.
be dissecting the movie as it goes and kind of judging it compared to the previous one.
Yeah,
And I think he made this movie so much more different while having the Benoit Blanc character there,
right.
that he succeeded in bringing something fresh. And he's doing another one,
I
which
love it.
which
Love
is
it.
great. And I'm honestly, I wish he would do more because I hope the third one isn't the last time we see Benoit Blanc. Like he's just such a great character.
He
And
is.
well, look, it's not like we're gonna get super spoiler depth, but we can talk spoilers. And one thing I appreciated about Benoit Blanc, I love how he emphasized a few times. He says lines like, "I'm not Batman. I'm not,
Mhm.
I'm not a bodyguard." And
Yeah,
I love that because look, he plays James Bond, right? So he's associated with the James Bond character. We always
yeah,
expect him like to whoop some butt, right? But that's not who this character is. I'm sure he's capable of defending himself if it came down to it, but he's reminding us, hey, I'm not a superhero. I'm not an action star. He's a thinker. He figures things out. And I love that about this character because it's something different from Daniel Craig. I guess we could start there real quick. Daniel Craig, amazing again.
Mhm.
Uh, and he's not just at least from my perspective, he's not just like, oh, he's just a detective. I think he has multiple layers to his personality and his emotions
Oh,
that were
100%.
displayed in this movie as well.
Yeah, this movie, dives into a bit more of his personal life, okay?
Absolutely, yeah.
Um, let's just say it off the bat, his character is, bi, he's gay, and, that's great, you know, it didn't take away from the movie at all. Actually, there's a fun cameo to that. There's quite a few cameos,
Yeah.
in
Well, you know
this
what? Before
movie.
I forget, I love that they showed how he was so bored during the pandemic, and
Yes,
that he needed something to keep his mind going.
very
I loved
relatable.
that. Hmm.
Absolutely. I didn't even think about that. I love your pulling external stuff from this movie and how it, boosts this movie and, from your perception, the quality. But yeah, Benoit Blanc, Daniel Craig, he's arguably better in this movie.
Yeah.
He finds himself, and I love how the setting and his environment plays into his character in this movie. Okay,
Hmm.
this Ryan Johnson's not just picking a different location for whatever reason. In this movie, the location is Miles Braun, played by Edward Norton, tech billionaire, has a
Hmm.
private island, and it's surrounded by all this luxury and technology and stuff. And he is like, someone else said, he's like a fish out of water. You're just
Yeah.
reacting to things, and it's whether it's intentional or not, it's funny at times.
Yeah,
Like
and
there's
throughout this
levity.
movie, like they kind of set it up to where like you don't really know what's going on. You don't know the stakes yet. Like,
Yeah,
is he setting them all up to get killed or something? Like, we don't really know.
right,
And one thing that plays well into that is like they're on an island and they establish there's no law enforcement who can get here quickly. Like,
right.
which is kind of dumb, whatever. I guess someone could use their cell phone and dial 911 and they could fly a chopper out there if they really had to. But, they did their best at establishing, like, hey, we're stuck on this island with multiple people that don't like each other and want to kill each other and stab each other behind the back. There's a lot that goes into this movie. There's so much history with the characters and all that. And we don't have time to get into all of that. But what stood out to you the most about like the way the cast interacted and the way the characters interacted and all that?
Well, I thought the casting was brilliant, and it doesn't work without Ryan Johnson and his eye for not only the talent but what kind of roles he sees them playing.
Mm-hmm.
First off, this cast is, I mean, if you thought the first movie was stacked, this one is. Real quick, let me just sound off. All right, you got
Yeah.
Daniel Craig, Edward Norton, Janelle Monáe, Catherine Hahn, Leslie Odom Jr., Kate Hudson, Dave Bautista, Jessica Henwick, Madeline Klein, and cameos in
Mm-hmm.
this movie as well. And I thought, they all brought something to these roles. Clearly, one of the things was energy. Like they were having fun playing these characters. Most notably, Kate Hudson and Dave Bautista. I think those two were having the most fun
Yeah,
in this
absolutely.
movie. But like, what an interesting and unique ensemble. With the first movie, it was a family drama, but they were all cut from the same tree because they're a
Yep.
family.
That's a good
In
point.
this one, they are not family. I mean, we're talking about completely different personalities. You got a scientist,
Who
you
all
got
came
a
together in their 30s,
yeah,
which
you got an
they've
influencer.
mentioned. Yeah.
You got a fashion person, a politician. And I thought casting was great. The chemistry was amazing. There's clearly one or two performances that stand above the rest, but that's not a knock. They're all good to great, in my
No,
opinion.
and a lot of that comes down to the writing and which actors were giving the best opportunities to give a great performance. And
Sure.
I did want to ask you based on that. I think I know the answer, but favorite character, favorite performance, and are they one and the same? They don't have to be the same.
Um, Favorite character. I'm a me. I'm a Dave Batista guy.
Well, and I did want to say other than Daniel Craig and Benoit Blanc, other than
other than Daniel Craig
obviously
is
because he
yeah.
could be the best and the favorite. easily.
Yeah, I mean, for me, favorite character is Dave Bautista's character,
Duke.
Duke. Yeah, the Twitch
Hmm.
streamer, as he's described. I just
When his
early
mom's
on,
yelling at him
yeah,
for
the interactions
podcasting or
with the
whatever.
mom, yeah,
He's like,
and
Mom, not while we're live. And even though it's not necessarily living with our parents, we can all relate to that, right?
oh,
Like,
absolutely,
because what we do on YouTube, it's like, not when I'm
yeah.
live. Yeah.
Yeah, he's my favorite character and performance. I mean, it's Janelle Monáe.
Yep. I knew
I
that's where you were
mean,
going to go. Yeah.
I mean, maybe you agree, but like she just her role is far more complex than I thought, and the movie really
Absolutely.
took
Yeah.
a turn
You
at
know what I was
about
thinking the other day? We should have
what's
caught
up?
it because they show her at the beginning of the movie opening the box and she's very worn down, like hair done differently. And then she shows up to the boat all done up. And we probably thought in our heads, like, oh, she just got dressed up and got a haircut. But
Right.
it was way more different, complex than that.
I think I was just like trying to
Take the
look too
movie in.
hard. Yeah, think
Yeah.
too
Oh,
hard
I
in the movie,
see.
and I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, come on, back up, and
Yeah.
to that point, I did. I remember leaning over to you in the theater. And I was like, okay, there's a few things happening right here that maybe I thought I saw or something, and then later on you find out you did, and you're like, that's part of
Well,
the fun,
and how many things were like, because there's a random dude just hanging out on the island smoking weed the whole
right?
time. He has his own room and it's like a stoner room. And you're like, ooh, where's that guy? And turns out to be
Yeah,
nobody.
it was like
They
a
did
misdirection.
throw us off a little bit. I would say uh, favorite character, I kind of like Lionel, the Leslie Odom Jr. character. I liked him a
Yeah,
lot because, well, they said he didn't even go to college and he became a brilliant scientist. Obviously, Miles elevated him, but he's that intelligent without even going to school.
sure.
And I just like the way he carried himself. And I'm with you. It's got to be Janelle Monáe. Other than Daniel Craig,
Yeah.
and obviously she's the second lead. Basically, she is the Anya de Armas of this movie, if you would
Okay.
say.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
Ana de Armas, and she did a fantastic job playing two different characters and playing a character who has to pretend to be the other character for
Right.
most of the movie. And so that
Oof.
requires, and a lot of people have like, I know she's gotten acclaimed acting work before, but a lot of people are like, oh, she's just a singer turned actress or whatever. But no, she's amazing. Like she's an Academy level actress, in my opinion, and she did a great job.
Yeah, she was definitely a scene stealer in Hidden Figures, 2015. That movie
Yes,
is
yes. Yeah, and I
fantastic.
honestly the whole cast worked for me. Edward Norton was great. He was born to play this role. This is like
Oh yeah.
made for him. Kate Hudson, who was the most
Yes.
surprising performance because we haven't seen her a lot lately. And we haven't
Mhm.
seen her much. And I love the character that she played. Like it was so we like there's people like that in real life.
Oh
And
yeah.
she
They're so
played that
like
very well.
gullible and yeah, and
Yeah, and
I
like
just
also they're naive in the sense that they don't know that they're offending people, but they are.
oh
And she
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
realize that. I
I
do want to
love how the
jump in
movie
real
touched on
quick.
that.
I told you once we got out of the theater, because there's a whole thing in this movie with the Miles character and the Mona Lisa painting. And I
Yeah.
told you this has got to be Rian Johnson making an allegory for him directing The Last Jedi.
You blew my
And
mind.
to sum it up, basically, there's multiple points in the movie where they're talking about being disruptors and blowing up the system, challenging ideals, things like that. And we heard Rian Johnson talk a lot of like that when he was directing The Last Jedi. He had a lot of
Right.
comments that sounded like that. Go into this movie, the Miles character has the Mona Lisa, and he says the whole movie says, "I want to go down in history, be spoken in the same sentence as the Mona Lisa."
Yeah.
Fast forward to the end, his science project or whatever he was doing was the reason the Mona Lisa burned. And Janelle Monáe's character says, "You accomplished it. You will forever be remembered in the same sentence as the Mona Lisa." In my eyes, Rian Johnson was looking at Star Wars as the Mona Lisa,
Man.
and he wanted to make a great movie and go down in history to make the greatest Star Wars movie ever. Instead, he gets blamed for what people think is a train wreck, which actually I don't think The Last Jedi is a bad movie.
It's
I
growing on
I
people.
never thought it was bad, but it has grown on me. I actually really appreciate it 10 times better than episode 9. We won't mention that. But
Too late.
but yes, I'm like, "Oh my goodness, Ryan Johnson, you are putting your emotions into your work and I love it." I mean, if he hasn't came out and talked about this in an interview by now, you can't convince me otherwise that this
Man,
is not
you need
true.
to clip this out and tweet it at Ryan Johnson and be like, "Was there any
Yeah.
merit to this?"
Yeah, and I'm not even complaining. I think that is creative. Like, I think
Oh
that
yeah,
is artistic. Like, and what is the what's better for an artist to do, an artist, a director, right? Than to put their own life experience and their own emotions into their work. And I think that's what he did here. And I think for the better, it ended up making it a great movie, in my opinion.
I agree, man. And that's the beautiful thing about, art is that, you see so many different things from it. Is there an underlying meaning to, what's being, the message being, relayed to the audience? And,
Hmm.
man, dude, I wouldn't be surprised if like your theory catches on, and people start, as more people see it, because it is playing in a limited release.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's going to be on
but
Netflix soon, right? I mean, it's come on Tuesday or Wednesday?
I don't. Let me see here. One second. I'll take a look.
Yeah.
Let's see. Netflix December 23rd. So released a month early.
Oh, that's right. They did say that. They said it's going to be in theaters for a week and then it goes dark and then comes out on Netflix. That's interesting. Okay. So, wow. So, spoiler, hopefully people who watched it in theaters get to watch our spoiler review and those who have to wait don't. But yeah, man, look, we could do an hour-long show on this movie. But what else did you want to talk about regarding Glass Onion? Was there anything that didn't work for you?
Anything that didn't work? Not that I could think of off the
I
top.
mean,
That's how
that's kind of
highly I think of
how
this movie.
I weigh films. It's like I'm like, what could have been done better? Wait a minute, maybe nothing. And it's like,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, I can't honestly think of
I
any.
think, look,
And
for me, it does get a little silly at some points. Like there's a line of silliness, right? That each movie has their own line of silliness. This movie approaches that line of silliness to go too far a couple times, but if that's the worst thing I can say about this movie, how good is it? Like that's the worst thing I could say about it. But it's definitely a puzzle and you're gonna have fun putting it together. Dang, I should quote that. I should tweet that.
should be on like at the back of a Blu-ray or something.
Yeah. Glass onion, a puzzle. You have fun putting it together. Yeah. I
And
mean, I look, Ryan Johnson, like I already appreciated Ryan Johnson as a director, but he's just becoming more and more one of my favorites after this movie.
right, man. And I love that we're getting, excuse me,
Another one.
one
Yeah.
more movie, at least,
And we'll go watch
yeah,
that in theaters too.
shoot, man, location. I mean, we'll have to do like I was thinking about, doing a casting table on Apocalypse,
Oh, that's a great
movies. I mean,
because we're always doing Star Wars, DC, Marvel, like property
yeah,
stuff. To do a mystery movie, that would be cool.
yeah.
Yes. Keep an eye out. Hopefully we'll do something like that.
Hmm.
Gio, any last thoughts on Glass Onion and Knives Out mystery?
I mean, if this movie is playing near, at a theater near you,
And
go
you still
watch
have
it.
time?
You're
Yes.
not gonna regret it. Okay. Well, I mean, if you didn't like the first one,
Then
chances
you're
are,
not interested anyway.
yeah, then you may not like, this one. I will say it is probably a little more digestible, I guess you could say. Like the tone is, I mean, it's still a murder mystery, but it's all like bright and colorful
Yeah,
and
I would say it's more of a and this isn't a bad thing. This is more of a popcorn flick than the first one was. I would say
okay,
so.
yeah,
It's more of a theatrical group experience movie than the
hmm,
first one is, and that's a compliment. That's
yeah.
like to elevate your little indie, you know, murder mystery who done it to like a blockbuster status. That's a compliment, like
And
in
it'd
my
be
opinion.
arguably better. than the first. Like I'll say this
Yeah,
right now.
you've been saying it.
I think it's better than the first one. Like the first one I love, but this one right here, just the expectations were a lot higher. You know, we talked about the difficulty of pulling off a sequel for a movie like this, and he knocked it out of the park, man. He knocked it out of the park, and
Yeah. Oh,
I
that's a
mean,
tough question.
the cameos too, man. Like the one
Oh,
at
the
the
cameos
beginning
are
that
great.
has to
Yeah.
do with the mask wearing masks and
Oh,
just
yeah, yeah, yeah. When he's like,
so
"You're
yeah.
good."
So yeah, go watch this movie, have fun. It's not overly complex, okay? It's not like Christopher
It's
Nolan
entertaining.
Memento. No, okay. Yeah, very entertaining. If
Mhm.
anything, for the performances alone, you're gonna enjoy seeing these uh fantastic actors bringing these just wild bunch of characters to life. And
Absolutely.
I really want to watch it again, man.
Yeah, me too. Hey, I guess we have to wait a month for Netflix, but I agree
There we
with you,
go.
man. If not better, it's on par with the first one, and that's a huge accomplishment because the
Right.
first one is amazing. So they're
Yeah.
both amazing, and good for you, Ryan Johnson. You killed it, knocked it out of the park. Yeah, once you guys get a chance to see it, let us know what you thought. I'm sure we'll talk more about the movie when it comes out on Netflix. So keep an eye out for that. I'm Jacob. That is Gio. Don't forget to check out Apocalypse Now every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And we got a bunch of stuff here going on at Apocalypse. So subscribe, check us out. We appreciate you, and see you guys next time.